BreitlingsSource.com here, and we're looking at an Oris Swiss-made watch here. This one is called the Artelier Complication. This one uses a unique Oris caliber 581 movement, and this is a movement that Oris built based on the ETA 2671, I believe, or the 2688. And this movement is like super tiny. If you look at this, this is actually the entire movement. There isn't anything underneath this part. The whole movement is only that big, and I was actually really surprised when I saw it. Oris says this movement stock only has the hour, the minute, the second, and the day complication. Sorry, the date complication here. Oris has modified it to have day of the week, the date, of course, that was there already, and then a 24-hour hand and a moon phase. And it's basically all the additional modules that they added to this movement to create the complications are all developed by Oris, and they're in-house. Given the price of this watch, the current model, which is slightly different in the dial, it retails at, I think, $2,100 or something like that. Oris watches are actually very reasonable for what you get compared to a lot of the other Swiss manufacturers. If you take a look at this, it's a really nice guilloche pattern, sunburst pattern on the dial, sapphire crystal. I believe it's sapphire front crystal, front sapphire, so the back is probably mineral, though it doesn't say. Water resistant to 30 meters. It's a screwed case back as opposed to a screw down case back. Non-screw down crown, so you can wind. And it has little pushers on the side of the case. One for the day, one for the date, one for the day, and one for the 24-hour hand for the second time zone. However, the moon phase is a bit of a pain on this watch. You actually have to cycle through the days. You have to keep turning it and just keep going through it to go through the moon phase. And you can't go part ways. You have to keep going. I tried going forward and back, and the moon just goes back and forth, so it doesn't have even a semi-quick set for the moon phase. You do have to cycle through all of them. This Oris is sized at 40.5 millimeters in diameter, but because Oris's designs tend to be, they're shaped a little bit different. They tend to sit a little bit smaller than they are. At 40.5 for my wrist, this looks perfectly fine. I actually really like the size, but I think a lot of people may find that the size is a bit too small for them. It is a dress watch, so a smaller size is usually fitting. I mean, even most Patek Philippe's are around 38 millimeters, except for, the sport watches where some of them get up to 40 or 42. But if you take a look at this profile of the case, it angles like that. So even though it's a 45 millimeter case, the watch slides into sort of a smaller face, so it doesn't quite look as big. But I think it's a really nice looking watch. Really great dress watch. Really affordable way to get into a moon phase complication. And neat little subdials here. The only thing that bugs me a little bit of these subdials is it reminds me of all the really bad fakes out there that have the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, day of the weeks here because they're trying to pretend to be chronographs, but they're not. But I mean, even some of the most expensive Patek Philippe's have this kind of a thing going on, and they really do look like that. So it doesn't bother me that much, but it's kind of funny how we associate stuff with that. One thing that is nice about this is even you get the subdial, so it looks like a chrono, but because it's not a chrono, you have the central seconds hand, and the central seconds hand is always moving, whereas on a chrono it's usually stuck there at the 12 o'clock. So this gives you a little bit more stuff going on in the dial, even though there is no chronograph, So kind of a nice thing. But hope you enjoy the review of this Oris Artelier complication. Have a good one.